Hello everyone, this is Adrian with Gwarzalez Magic. Before I get into this deck tech, I would just like a chance to thank Kevin Kremen of RogueDeckBuilder.com, and I'm sure most of you found my channel because of him. Thank you so much for the boost, and thank you guys all for coming here to check out my channel. I got some great content in the future for you guys, so I'm hoping that we will have many wonderful video playlists together. So again, big shout out to Kevin, big shout out to Rogue Deck Builder, and big shout out to all of my subscribers, both new and old, for sticking with me. And thank you so much. And here we are. Let's go into the deck. I've decided to try out the Tezzfinity Agent of Bolas build of Affinity, which is in some ways just a modern deck, but it plays banned modern cards, which is kind of interesting, right? Because the artifact lands, Vault of Whispers, Seat of the Synod, and Ancient Den are all in modern. They're just you can't play with them. Ancient Tomb is probably the only non-modern card. Well, I guess Perish as well. But so it functions a lot more like the colored version of Modern Affinity, where we want to either achieve a critical mass of artifacts and overwhelm the opponent with our equipment, or we have an alternate win con in Tezzfinity Agent of Bolas, who allows us to just instantly zap the opponent or create an army of dudes. So going into the card select choice here, since we're playing Tez, we need to play Seat of the Synod, 4 Seat of the Synods, and 4 Vault of Whispers. And these are incredibly good, of course, with Cranial Plating and Arcbound Ravager. You can tap your mana, play a spell, sack them to Arcbound, and get in with the business into that. Playing 3 Midnights, 4 Mox Opals. I feel like 4 Mox Opals is pretty much an auto-include for any Affinity deck. And if you do not have Mox Opals floating around and you're playing Legacy, Lotus Petal works kind of similarly. It's not as good because it doesn't stay around, but it will do in a pinch. There's also a Paradise Mantle in Modern, but it's obviously not as good because you have to equip a creature with it. 4 Ornithopters. Again, I think I've said this in a few other videos. The 0 drops are really what makes this deck explosive, along with cards like Springleaf Drum, just to sort of accelerate our game plan fast. And when we have our extra Springleaf Drums and a Tezzeret, we can make the Springleaf Drums 5/5s. So it's essentially like having a repeatable and soul artifact. 4 Arcbounds. Love Arcbound Ravager. He's one of the best cards in our deck, one of the reasons to play this deck. He ruins combat math. He essentially blanks removal spells other than board sweeps. He's just a general all-around all-star. Very solid win condition. And we follow him up with Cranial Plating, another big reason to play this deck. Arguably, in my opinion, one of the most broken equipment cards ever printed. Although I guess I shouldn't take that away so fast, because I am playing a one of Umezawa's Jite. This card is awesome in certain matchups, not as good in others, but generally it will do things you want it to do, even if you're just pumping your creature for a faster win. And the reason I'm playing 3 Cranials and a Jite is because this deck plays Stoneforge Mystic, and basically this gives us an additional 2 pieces of equipment in our deck. She can carry all of our equipment, of course, but I figure that if I'm playing with Stoneforge Mystic, I kind of want to try out a one of Jite in the main. Not playing any on the board. I think 1 is fine, especially with the Stoneforge. It's essentially 3 copies of Jite I can go get. Or 3 chances, I should say, if they blow up the Jite. It's just game over on the Jite. 4 Vault Scourge. This is one of our better equipment carriers. Lifelink is very, very good in Legacy and Modern and just in general. And, he's one of our evasive creatures. 4 Etched Champions. He's a little harder to play in the other version because our mana is so strapped. But we do have the inclusion of an additional 4 Springleaf Drums in this build, so getting the 3 mana is a lot easier. We have 4 Frogmites. I'm not running Mirror Enforcers much for the same reason. I'm not running them in the other deck. They cost a little too much. They're 4/4s, and that's great, but I would much rather be playing Arcbound, Stoneforge, any of my other creatures, basically. And then, of course, we have 3 Tezzeret Agent of Bolases. This guy's a win condition all unto himself. He can win the game handily against decks like, I'm thinking mostly Miracles. If they Terminus and get rid of our board, we still have a Tezzeret in play that we can use to either create additional creatures or draw additional cards, or you only need to +1 him once in order to use his ultimate. So he's just a very good card. He's definitely the better Tezzeret. And then this deck can afford to play 4 Thoughtcasts, which is sort of like a baby Treasure Cruise in a way. I know it was printed before, but drawing 2 for blue is just incredibly good. I know drawing 3 is better, of course, but this is the original Treasure Cruise and the original True Name Nemesis, you might say. Going to the board, I have 2 Grafdigger's Cage for those pesky Storm decks. Actually, yeah, I guess Storm still flows Run Past in Flames. Really anything that wants to cast cards in the graveyard. which is a lot of legacy decks, so I do like it against Reanimator and the like. This deck we can play Thoughtseize, which comes in against a lot of decks. It's just all in all a good card. I'm playing 1-man Riki Gusari on the board. We can tutor it with our Stoneforge Mystics, and being able to blow up Batter Skulls is pretty sweet. 3 Phyrexian Revokers, another all-around good card. Play it, name a Planeswalker, name a Deathrite Shaman, name a Sensei's Divining Top. Almost always where we want to be when we bring him in. 3 Ethersworn Canonists, again against Storm. I lost to a lot of Storm decks recently with the other deck, and I just don't feel like losing to them anymore. They're incredibly powerful if you don't know how to deal with them, or if you don't have the cards to deal with them, I should say. And game 1 we're very non-interactive, so we need to pack our sideboard with interactive spells. And to that end, I'm also playing 2 Unified Wills. I like it a little bit more than Counterspell because it's not blue-blue. And generally we're flooding the board, so we tend to have more creatures than our opponent. And finally, 2 Perishes. I was playing against quite a few Nimble Mongoose and Tarmogoyf decks, and it's also great against Elves. GTA is also very good against Elves. But yeah, I like my package here. So, without further ado, let's get into some games, and I hope you enjoy this week's Gwarzalez Magic. Alright, here we are in match 1, game 1. Yes, I would like to play first. This hand is unkeepable. We have no lands. We do have a lot of good cards, but like I said, no lands, so cannot keep. This hand is acceptable. Little strain on colored sources, but a turn 1 Cranial is almost never bad. So we're going to go Tomb, Springleaf, Cranial, and ship the turn back. If our opponent has a Bolt here, we're pretty much screwed, but maybe we're playing against Elves with a basic Forest. That's certainly what it looks like, so I feel pretty comfortable attacking here. Although, actually, this is much better. I'm going to go ahead and play a turn 2 Tezzeret. Let's +1 him. So we have an Ancient Den, a Seed of the Sign-On, a Vault Scourge, and double Ornithopter. I think I'm going to go ahead and take the Vault Scourge. And ship the turn. Vault Scourge is an evasive creature, which can gain me life, which is why I took him there, which could be better against the Elf deck. Of course, this is the turn he's probably going to go crazy. So he can add 1 green, or 1 mana of any color to his pool here. Wirewood Symbiote, okay, my opponent is definitely going off. He follows it up with a Dryad Arbor, so that's fine. Another Tezzeret. So I can -4 this Tezzeret, play another Tezzeret, and play my Vault Scourge. Which sounds like a pretty good start, honestly. Let's go ahead and play Vault Scourge. Oh, well, actually I should have tapped this, because now I actually can't play the other Tezzeret, so that was pretty foolish of me. Let's play the other Ancient Tomb. I guess I could make this a 5/5. But I think I'm actually going to go ahead and +1 this turn. Oh, great. Let's take this Jite. Let's play Jite. Let's equip it. And I know I'm getting down to a dangerous life total here, but being able to zap some elves is going to be pretty good. Although he does have the Wirewood Symbiote. I can go ahead and blow up the Wirewood Symbiote first, though. And my opponent concedes to a Jite, so that was pretty good. Jite is pretty good. Let's go ahead and bring in some Perishes. What do I want to take out against elves? I don't think any creatures. Grafdiggers is good against elves, isn't it? Because they can't combo. I think actually the thought casts are going to be a little slow. I'd rather have the Tezzeret. So yeah, let's try that out. So we were lucky we played against a deck that we were already kind of pre-sideboarded for, and I was able to Tezzeret into the perfect answer for against that deck. Yeah, I was just going to start blowing up lots of elves. This hand's not bad. It's a little slower compared to the other one, but I do like turn 2 Etched. Let's see, I could go turn 1. Now probably turn 1 Vault Scourge. No, it's a lot of... I could play 2 Vault Scourges on my first turn, which is going to be pretty painful. But I think it'll pay off. As next turn I can play and equip a Cranial. And if I draw into a Parish, that's just gravy. So playing a Birchler Rangers. So able to make 2 mana currently. Elvish Visionary, pretty sweet. Alright, I like Ornithopter. Let's Cranial up one of our Vault Scourges. Let's attack our opponent for 7. Seems pretty good. I think my opponent might be able to combo off this turn. I'm not really sure how fast Elves is, but I think turn 3 is a good turn for them to go off. Yeah, my opponent just has billions of mana this turn. This could be an Abrupt Decay. Doesn't look like it though. What could this be? Oh, tapping for 3 mana. A Glimpse would be bad for me here. Is this a Convoke spell? Like Court of Calling, perhaps? For Dryad Arbor, maybe? Oh no, Green Suns, of course. Why would I assume Court of Calling? That would be very silly in Legacy. Oh, a Rex Sage. Undoubtedly for my Cranial. Yeah, that's fine. I can still play an Arcbound. I can play an Arcbound, Vault Scourge next turn. I can load up one of my Vault Scourges. Alternatively, could play Etched Champion, but I think that's going to be a little too slow at this point. My opponent has a Wirewood Symbiote that was bad for me. Okay, that's fine. Top decking another Cranial would be awesome. Mox Opal is actually not bad. So it lets me play my Arcbound. Play another Vault Scourge. So going all in on one Vault Scourge might actually not be that great. So I will not, but I will go ahead and make one of them a 3/3. Well, I can make one of them, let's see, I'm attacking for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But it seems really risky if my opponent has another Rex Sage or has some way, like Wirewood Symbiote, and has some way of returning it to his hand. So let's just do it like that. And hope my opponent cannot draw into any more artifact removal. So I still have my opponent on a 2-turn clock here. My opponent has Natural Order. I'm of course screwed. Okay, Abrupt Decay is pretty good too, but it's not a Natural Order, so it's not the end of the world. I would love to top deck a Tez. Almost anything, really. Almost any of my action cards is good here. Yeah, just gaining a bunch of life. That's good for me. Ooh, I'd love to top deck a Parish. That'd be very ideal. So yeah, I have a couple outs here, even though it looks a little grim. Knowing my luck, though, I'll probably top deck a land, but can't win them all. Alright, come on, Parrot. Okay, cranial plating, very nice. Top deck of the century. This is a very real threat my opponent must answer. Hopefully my opponent doesn't draw anything good. Looks like he drew a land. I feel like he would have played it last turn. So I don't think he was at 3 last turn. Oh no, this might be it. This could be another Rex Sage, I suppose. We're not. We win match 1. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in match 2.